Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It is Friday, August 12th, 2 p.m. Eastern. And it's a very slow market day. Bulls are keeping control in the stock market, but volume and volatility has just dried up over the last 2 hours. Everybody's just waiting for the weekend. 2 more hours until markets close. Let's see where crypto stands as well. Before we get into it, Lori is going live for a webinar this Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, to talk about futures trading. And I certainly suggest that everybody that is interested in crypto branch out into other markets and find their comfort in those other markets. The more markets that we are comfortable trading, the more opportunity we have during different market environments. Right now, crypto is a more tricky market environment, in my opinion, than a lot of stocks and futures charts. So, dropping the link to register to that webinar in the chat, and I'll put that in the comments of the video as well. So S&P 500, all bulls. We can see we had an upper wick of some profit taking yesterday, but 4-hour EMA 12 maintained as support. Here we are testing the highs. And again, every leg up that we see, every higher high that we see, for me, increases probabilities that a bottom is in. And we got a nice steady daily uptrend to be watching for clarity. So whether you're watching the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, they're very similar. The NASDAQ ever so slightly weaker, but insignificantly so as far as today's trading. And the Bitcoin divided by NASDAQ chart, again, showing us who's stronger and who is weaker. It is sideways, which means they're doing the same thing. When we see a break of this range convincingly in one direction or the other, it'll be very telling to us, depending on what the broader market is doing at that point in time. Essentially, not sure how Bitcoin's going to break this bullish without news. We would just need a big time move with volume behind it. But again, the market environment that we're in right now, it's just marked by bull breaks that lack follow through consistently. The best time to short is after a daily resistance break. And the best time to long is, of course, in oversold conditions. When we last checked in, Ethereum was heading to first 5-minute oversold conditions after the daily breakout. And so just an example from there, we went from 1803 to 1946 from first 5-minute oversold conditions for that back burner trade. So that was definitely worthwhile for bulls. So certainly some dip buying, bull opportunity, and resistance breaking, lack of follow through, bear opportunity. So this is the Bitcoin daily rising wedge pattern that we've been keeping an eye on. And we now have another bounce off of support. The bounce is not very convincing at this point. Maybe shaping up an inverse head and shoulders type of pattern here is the 2-hour time frame. We had a resistance level of 24.2 thousand. Drop down, form the head. If we failed 24.2 here, it'll be up to the bulls to confirm that inverse head and shoulders if we're going to have any confidence that our daily high or low is being set. So it's just a slow grind up. And again, it's a frustrating environment for bears. I've been saying that a lot in the stock market videos, just because it's this grind up and the bears are not seeing any follow through. And in my opinion, with how this is taking place now, bears are going to clearly have to show up with volume on these daily charts if they're going to shift momentum. So scouting a Bitcoin daily high or low, but really just using those lines as my visual guide of both support and resistance on the daily time frame. We're also battling up just under weekly EMA 12 resistance, which we kissed finally on this bounce. So that's definitely a resistance level to be watching as well. So Ethereum looks a lot better than Bitcoin. Look at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin from yesterday. And we look at, again, if we want to compare, we can look at the fib retracements in terms of how much of this bull move we gave back. And it was 55+%. And you look at Ethereum and the amount of the move that it gave back didn't even come close to touching 382. I guess you could say close, but 35% retracement or so. That's a very big difference. It's the difference between a bull flag and not likely to be a bull flag. We had 4-hour EMA 12 support holding, just like it's holding on the S&P 500 futures charts. Bitcoin lost 4-hour EMA 12 with its pullback. So clearly Ethereum is stronger. And the daily time frame has a lot of space now where we can pull back 5, 10%, 10% plus, and still form a daily high or low, anything above 1656. Daily inside bar for now, but trying to be a little bull flag. 12 hours nice and clear. Can the bulls pull off a 12-hour bull flag is the question from here. There is this uptrending resistance line, but again, that's really because there's no previous price levels in play that matter to me right now. And this is more of a channel than it is a wedge, but worth keeping an eye on that resistance. Let's see where our previous price levels of resistance are from here. Really just 2000 psychological, 2015, 2088. So a couple levels just over 20,000 psychological. But chart looks a lot stronger for Ethereum than Bitcoin. And it has for the whole bounce, essentially. And ETH BTC is showing us that. ETH BTC is hitting the highest level that it has in a very long time. Almost the entire year, except for 1 week. So that is 8-month highs right now. And that means that Ethereum, relatively speaking, comparative to Bitcoin, is the strongest that it's been, even when we weren't sure if the all-time high and the top was in. So it's an extremely impressive bounce. When this bounce started and we were playing Ethereum on this bounce, I was just looking for EMA 12, and it has blown through there. And you can look at that and say, well, that's due to the, buying of the rumor, so to speak. Not that it's a rumor, but definitely a lot of fundamental attention on Ethereum these days. And Link is benefiting from that as well. But ETH BTC is easily in an uptrend with daily EMA 12 with support, keeping those bulls in complete control. And the simple statement would be Ethereum bulls look great as long as ETH BTC daily EMA 12 is support. So Link also very strong recently. Definitely a lead bull on this move up. Bit of an upper wick right now, but 4-hour EMA 12 holding as support. Again, it's moves where the bull breaks don't really see much follow through. We broke 895 on one candle into some fairly significant consolidation. Then we break again into some significant consolidation. So bulls require a lot more patience in this environment to let the moves play out. We're used to big drops and oversold bounces. Ethereum just did it the other day here where I forget exactly which time I'm looking at here, but the bounces take a while to play out. It's not your V-shaped bounces. You got to change the trends one time frame at a time, and it's a slow grind. So Link, 4-hour uptrend, 4-hour EMA 12. The 12-hour is nice and clear. I actually like the 12-hour more than the daily. Bulls keep complete control of 880 support holds. If we lose 880, then we'll zoom out and watch daily EMA 12. But since the bulls took over here, the 12-hour higher lows are the most clear time frame where those higher lows are forming for me. And Link BTC has been strong. The weekly trend change here, again, if you're looking at ADA or Litecoin or Mana, you're hoping that your weekly chart for the BTC pairing does that and changes the weekly trend for the first time convincingly in a long time. We'll look at some of those charts in just a moment. But that was notable as far as helping that shift for Link to stand out as a lead bull over the last week plus. So let's look at those charts right now. ADA BTC weekly, still sideways, still not much going on. Mana BTC, same deal. And LTC BTC is really getting interesting because of how tight it is. 2-day time frame, tightening up for the last 3 months. Trying for the higher low. We can stay within this range for another week. Each candle is 2 days, so when this breaks, this is going to show us a significant shift in the relative strength or weakness of Litecoin compared to Bitcoin. And so whether or not you're interested in trading Litecoin, this is a good mental practice in terms of getting a grasp on how the BTC pairings of altcoins interact with the market environment. So there's only 4 ways that this can break. So let's say this pattern breaks bull and crypto's all going up. So what does that tell us? That tells us that Litecoin is leading the way in front of Bitcoin, going up significantly more. Let's say this chart breaks bull and all of crypto is dropping. That means Bitcoin is dropping faster than Litecoin. I would say that's probably the least likely scenario of how this plays out of the 4, because if crypto is dropping as a whole, Litecoin percentage-wise is most often going to be dropping faster than Bitcoin. Let's say this pattern breaks bear on crypto going up. That means Bitcoin's leading the way and Litecoin is lagging behind and not participating in the bull move. If this pattern breaks bear and crypto is dropping, that shows us that Litecoin is dropping faster than Bitcoin and weakening significantly. So essentially the most likely scenario out of all of those 4 would be a bear break because crypto is weak and we're starting weekly consolidation, or a bull break because crypto is strong and altcoins are leading the way. But as far as the relative strength or weakness of Litecoin compared to Bitcoin, this is worth paying attention to. And if you go back historically, we don't have many examples where we're as tight as we currently are, but there's an example that was similar here. And we had the bear break May 9th into the 11th. What happened to the 10th? I don't know. But May 9th into the 11th, and what was happening in the crypto space at that point in time, May 9th and 11th. Big drop. This big drop here. So, keeping an eye on it. Keep an eye on Sol. Sol is getting nice and tight as well. Is this a 2-day lower high forming? Maybe. We need to see the bears take out the 12-hour higher lows. If the 12-hour higher lows are lost, a 2-day lower high is being set, and we're going to continue tightening up here, probably into next week. We know weekends generally have had less volatility recently. Certainly not every time, but... And again, if you're just watching this pattern, you're just patiently waiting because you know volatility is coming. There's a lot of crypto altcoin 12-hour timeframes that are tightening up that tell us volatility is coming. And it's possible it happens during the weekend, but if it doesn't happen over the weekend, it's likely to happen early next week. And so let's just look at, let's go down our list real quick and show you what I mean about these tightening 12-hour time frames. I'm just watching a bunch of altcoin patterns that look like this. This is OMG right now. Whether I want to use this support line or start from the closer levels up here. Either way, we know that this range is tightening up and is going to break with a volume and volatility spike sometime within the next handful of days. Sand, same thing. 12-hour higher low trying to form. It would give us a little equilibrium within this pattern. So I really like 12-hour time frames in crypto right now. And again, these lines for me are just visual guides. I care a lot more about the price levels of the trends. But I mean, it's just nice and smooth and clear. And just all of these charts are going to break very similar to each other in terms of timing. And again, that's when a good amount of volatility is going to come back to the crypto space. So essentially, a day trader would look at this and say, well, if we're tightening up within 12-hour range, I know that my day trading volatility and opportunity is limited. But I better get ready, and I better prepare and pump the brakes right now and wait for the tightening ranges to break. And then once the tightening ranges break, that gives me a lot more opportunity in both directions to then day trade these names. Look at how tight Matic is. So whatever coins you're watching, do what I'm doing right now. Pull up the 12-hour time frame and just see where the trend lines would go as far as showing us these tightening ranges. All right, what else did I want to talk about? Sol BTC is a bit weaker than the US dollar pairing, but again, not many clues there. We're keeping an eye out for the 2-day lower high there as well. And Link is a lead bull we already talked about. Ethereum definitely a lead bull. FTT's 12-hour still tightening up. We've been watching this rising wedge. I think since we talked about it, we've rejected from resistance and bounced off support. Whenever I draw a wedge, whether it's a falling wedge or a rising wedge, after I draw it, I have to see the lines respected another time for me to then get confident in that pattern. And so I'm gaining confidence in the clarity of this FTT rising wedge pattern because it has respected both of these lines since drawing it. So as far as bigger pictures, so we know there's a lot of tightening ranges. I'll read the chat room here in just a moment. But we know there's a lot of tightening ranges in crypto. Okay, so what are we looking for in the broader market? Well, in the broader market, as we know, the bulls are very strong still. SPY can pull back and form a daily high or low. There's space for it to form. The dollar is a 12-hour falling wedge worth paying attention to, because if the dollar breaks this 12-hour falling wedge bullish, the weekly high or low off of EMA 12 will be set, and that would be a bear. That would be a tally in the bear column. So if I'm a bear, I want to see this dollar falling wedge break bull and set the weekly high or low off EMA 12. The 10-year is probably doing something similar. I've honestly stopped checking in on the 10-year, and I've just used the dollar. It's trying to bounce on the weekly, but there's a lot more space for a weekly lower high on the 10-year, and this is still a head and shoulders like pattern. Generally, I like the left neckline lower than the right, so it's, let's go, I'll explain that difference real quick. So head and shoulders pattern, I like when it's just a nice clear uptrend changing to a downtrend. Higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low. That is the most convincing, clear, classic head and shoulders for me. But by the definition of the pattern, it's possible to lose support and then confirm the downtrend. And that's what the 10-year has done. It's lost support. Now the question is, how much bounce do we see before a weekly lower high is set? What's the retracement? Is it a bear flag retracement? Is it 50% plus retracement? It's trying to set a monthly high or low. The monthly time frame still looks healthy for the 10-year bulls. Other pieces of the puzzle, I mean, that's really it. I'm just watching the broader market and the dollar. Mostly, metal bulls have been keeping their control in the short term. All right, what you got? What's up? Thanks for the likes, all 69 of you. Let's get that to 100, please. Why do I call ETH a 12-hour bull flag instead of a daily one? So Ethereum on the daily is an inside bar. So there's no consolidation. We're still setting, it's a double bottom. And so for a bull flag, you've got to pull back briefly. It has to be a downward slope and then continuation. So we don't have a downward slope on the daily time frame for a bull flag to be forming. You zoom in and you can say, okay, we started 12-hour consolidation. It's been very minimal at this point. But again, the flag part of the bull flag pattern is the little hanging flag. And so on the daily time frame, you can't see that little hanging flag because the daily consolidation has not started. Why would we be bullish on Litecoin versus Bitcoin? Only if that pattern breaks bull. Why would it break bull? Because more people are buying Litecoin than Bitcoin, and it's more volatile, it's more thinly traded, and it's going up faster. It was better to buy Litecoin than Bitcoin at the lows. You would have made more money. So if this breaks bull, there is bullish opportunity there. As far as fundamentally why, I don't care at all. That's the least important question for me. But for that initial bounce, again, Litecoin drops faster and it goes up faster. And it's not even that close. Litecoin from low to high, 62%. And Bitcoin from low to high, less than 50%. 42. So 50% more opportunity for gains in Litecoin over Bitcoin. And it's possible that happens again in terms of if we get another leg up for the entirety of crypto and if LTC BTC breaks that 2-day equilibrium bullish, then that means Litecoin is going to be going up faster. Trader mindset. Who cares why it's going up faster? If there's more opportunity, that's the name that I want to be in. Hex. I never know where to look at Hex because the volume is always junk. But it was a laggard bounce. It's getting some bounce follow through. As far as the daily, I would call anything above 5-1 a daily high or low. And the next resistance zone is this price action here in the 8s. 8-1, 8-4, 8-6. So laggard move. And Eth Btc trying to break to the highest level in months. And all crypto bulls want to see any name that's not participating act as a laggard. Because again, that just shows money flowing around and confidence. The more profits for bulls, the better. What's a 2-day lower low? Not LTC BTC. 1. Looking good. 12-hour uptrend can be our guide here. Higher low set 2966. So up at the current high. There is resistance here from the initial bounce that we are testing right now. I'll call this a resistance zone that we rejected from 1, 2, 3 times back at the end of June. We rejected from it last candle, and here we are still battling it. So this is a resistance zone, and you can see that there is not a ton of price action on the way down once you clear that level, but we are battling that level right now. If we lose the 12-hour higher lows without a convincing break over that resistance zone, it'll be a rejection. Need to keep the 12-hour higher lows and convincingly get over that level. Reef USDT, 12-hour equilibrium. So high, low, lower high. We're scouting a higher low, anything above 422. So tightening range. We are up near recent highs. We can, I mean, there's so many altcoins we can draw rising wedges on. And this is just another one of them. Very similar to Bitcoin's rising wedge. But if we were to hold 422, we would not be breaking this rising wedge bearish. That would be keeping the bulls in control. So just another rising wedge to keep an eye on. And again, we see the bull breaks take place and then multiple days of consolidation. And that's just been the pattern in crypto, and that's why it's more tricky to trade this current bounce. It's just, I mean, it's just you got to be entering on consolidation bullish and on resistance breaks that don't follow through bearish. I mean, that's what the environment has been the last 3 weeks, which is tricky. ETH BTC, it wasn't a rising wedge that we were watching, it was a channel. And yes, it broke it bull. So watching this. You could have turned it into a rising wedge eventually, which obviously broke bull. But I liked the horizontal a little bit better. But that was a bull break. And we'll look for a back test and a hold of it next time we pull back. Woo USDT, 12-hour equilibrium here as well, trying to set a higher low compared to 22.7. If we confirm the 12-hour downtrend, weekly consolidation will be potentially shaping up. So trying to cling to daily EMA 12 and that higher low. And essentially need Bitcoin to confirm that 2-hour inverse head and shoulders we went over first thing. If that can get a bull break, then we'll likely be setting up some 12-hour higher lows in these altcoins. Could draw a resistance line here as well on the 12-hour chart. And we would have already, let's see, support line. We would have already broken bear from the support line I would have most recently drawn. But I like the 12-hour tightening range better for clarity. Do I have any opinion regarding GBTC considering the significant discount? I don't care about the discount, to be honest, because it's all perception. It's not like you're actually going to be redeeming what your shares are worth for the actual Bitcoin. It's the perception of the market not wanting to be risk on right now or preferring different alternative instruments for investment in Bitcoin. And it's just, I mean, I'm just trained as a trader to, yes, look for laggards. This obviously wouldn't be a laggard opportunity in my opinion, but I want to play the stronger names bullish. And so if GBTC has not even really come that close to breaking the high of July 20th, and Bitcoin obviously did, granted not in any significant way, but I mean, we broke that high multiple times. So for me, it would just be like, why would I want to be in this instrument? You would essentially need to see a perception shift while you are holding that trade for that discount to shrink and for it to then be bigger gains than what Bitcoin itself is seeing. And in my opinion, trying to time that is not high probability. I mean, it's FOMO. You need notable FOMO for the discount to shrink, in my opinion, on GBTC. Do I think the premiums will come back? Honestly, I think the premiums are based on supply and demand. And if there's a lot of demand in a FOMO environment, there is a premium. And if there is a lot of supply in a fear environment, there's a big discount. I really think that's, obviously I would need to go in and read the prospectus of these ETFs and see exactly how these calculations are being made. But from just observation, superficially, not going in depth, it's the market environment and supply and demand that dictates the discount or premium most significantly. Is declining volume on the U.S. broader market a signal for weakness? No. I lost the question. Hold on. So I learned long ago, in 2016, that you do not need volume for the broader market to go up. It's not a fair game. You need volume for the bears to get follow through. You do not need volume to go up. And I was watching, I guess that was what, post-election? The post-election move up with just slow grind up and significant follow through. The average volume was just dropping, just consistently for a couple years. And so from that experience, I learned as a part of my trading and technical analysis, individual stocks, you want to see volume going up on bull moves. And if it's not, it's a bit of a red flag. And then I initially was applying that to the S&P 500 and these broader market ETFs. But again, I learned and I just shifted my rules and said, you do not need volume to go up for the broader market ETFs. And that's just now a new rule for me through observation. And so that's what's happening right now. It's just a slow grind up and it's persistently continuing. If we get a bear break in crypto and Litecoin holds up better than Bitcoin, would I still be interested in the setup? Probably not, no. That would, again, that would be the least likely scenario for me. So that would throw me off. How many weeks of support do I need for I'm confident a bottom is set? I don't need weeks of support. I need a weekly trend change. I need a very clear top to be set and the bears to get all excited that we're about to dump to fresh lows. And I need bulls that miss the bounce to buy the dip and then head to the higher high. And that will significantly increase the probabilities for me because of exactly what I just said. Not only the percentage distance, we will then be above support, but the psychology of the market to make that happen. Bears all jump back into their reloads. And if we're going to confirm a weekly trend change, that shows us significant buying of the dip from bulls that missed the initial bounce or are reloading trades that they took off. And then if you break to the higher high from there, it shows that that demand is outweighing the supply and you get the bull break from patient bulls that are waiting for a weekly trend change before they gain confidence, and then you stop out all the bears that were confident that we were about to top out and roll over to fresh lows. So that is a bare minimum requirement for me if I'm even going to entertain the fact that a bottom is set. And look at Apple. Apple's bottom is set for me. Look at that bounce. We're talking all-time highs again. That's convincing conviction. It's an 80% plus retracement. Bitcoin is nothing like that. So the retracement is still very unimpressive. This is a 2-month chart. We need to be a lot further up. Weekly trend change. ETC BTC has definitely been keeping that strength. Weekly stair step, daily EMA 12 grind, setting those higher lows, always a good sign. It's been nice and clear. Ever since the breakout happened, we've just kept a daily higher low every single period of consolidation, which is obviously best case scenario. So yeah, both pairings doing the same thing. Keeping the bull spotlight. BNB BTC did lose a key support for me, that key short-term level. We're still trading right around it, but daily consolidation clearly underway. EMA 12 support test. And potential for weekly consolidation to be shaping up, depending on how the weekend goes, but we may be closing fairly near. I guess it's not even worth talking about for another day. Essentially, for Binance to lose short-term momentum, this would need to be a head and shoulders where we fail the high here, set a 12-hour lower high, and confirm a downtrend. And at the same time, the BTC pairing sees another leg down into more significant daily consolidation, losing daily EMA 12. Looks like stock bulls are pushing up a bit the last 10 minutes. Do I rely on alerts or just check in on... Oh, I skipped a bunch. Skipped a bunch. Do I know any traders that only take 1 or 2 setups for all of their trades? I mean, not that disciplined. Probably, 1 or 2 setups are 80% of their trades or something like that. But no, not the same trade setup every single time. That would get boring. Sell USDT. Again, I don't have any confidence in these tiny volume names as far as technical analysis. It's a nice clear 12-hour tightening range. But I mean, look at the volume. It's just so low. Your average daily dollar volume is $130,000 here. I guess that's a different exchange than you requested, but you get the idea. Uniswap. Anyways, 12 hours nice and clear. Viewing it as a rejection from resistance, support, lower high, higher low. So just tightening up within the 12-hour range. And we don't have the same tightening, condensing pattern that a lot of names have been building for the last week plus, but there's certainly 12-hour tightening range that is forming. And we know when it breaks, we'll see volatility pick up a bit. Bulls need more follow through here for a more convincing 12-hour higher low. So 4-hour trend change is needed to get us right back smack dab within that tightening range. All right, last coin review. Theta, 12-hour tightening range. Looks like we got a 12-hour bull break there with 0 follow through. Uptrending support line to keep an eye on. What happened with that break? So yeah, we broke and then just gave it all back, but held support. Decent bounce. Anything under 1645 is just a 4-hour lower high. Trying to find the most important support right now. I mean, the most important daily support is 1472. But holding on, just grinding those little higher lows, keeping those 12-hour higher lows, the daily higher lows in play, and that's all bulls want to do in this environment. Words of wisdom for a full-time trader who wants to start a small side business in order to be less reliant on trading profits. Stop trading for a while. Take a break. Focus on, if that's where your passion is at, focus on that for a while and give it the juice and the boost that it needs. I can't imagine that half attention on a startup business would go very far. In my experience, you certainly have to put in full time and attention for there to be a spark and a catalyst and momentum. So I would rather do one thing. I mean, that's basically how my personality is. But if I do something, I'm doing it to the best of my abilities. I can't half do something. How much do I care about RSI overbought on ETH? It hasn't really gotten that extended. The 12-hour has only gotten over 70 once this entire bounce. The daily has putted around 70, but the periods of daily consolidation cool it off real quick. So it doesn't really mean anything to me. No real signals either way. Not as a bull, not as a bear. All right, I appreciate you all tuning in on your Friday. I've got flood and damage in the creek to go repair. Some shoveling. Don't forget to do good things this weekend. Stock bulls are looking to close on a positive note at bounce highs, so we know that's always solid sentiment for the crypto bulls. But Bitcoin's got to get its act together and start breaking resistance with some follow through. 2-hour inverse head and shoulders watch if we pull back from 24.2 thousand, which we are currently testing. See you next week.